Hi guys, I'm Bob.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we're going to review Paint the Roses by Ben Goldman, a North Star Games studio. They've made a couple other games too, haven't they?
Yeah, I looked them up because the name sounded familiar. I was like, they did something, and they did Oceans and Evolution. Big fan of Oceans.
Yeah,
not so much Evolution, but big fan, fan of Oceans.
But this is a cooperative game where you're playing as the gardeners for the crazy Queen of Hearts, and you're trying to finish her garden before she manages to chop off your head because she's got some kind of weird obsession with that.
She's got problems.
She does. Sure. But during the game, we'll be taking cards, whether they're easy, medium, or hard, and on the backs of the cards, they do describe what they are you're trying to guess, either color to color, shape to shape, or color to shape, depending on the difficulty. And we'll be drawing cards, or drawing these tiles out of the greenhouse and placing them, and they're going to be pulled out of this bag each round. And then once I place them, everybody's going to place hint cubes on them according to how many, how it satisfies your whim card that you have. So so my card here, Don't Tell Dan, is yellow to yellow. So I'm going to take this one that's got yellow on it, and I'm going to place it maybe here. And I'm going to say, oh, that matches twice. So Dan is going to then look at that tile that I place and be like, that matches two places. So it can't really be symbol to symbol because they don't match up. But there are yellow to yellows twice. So he would then probably guess yellow to yellow.
Right. Before I guess,
Sure.
I would put out a cube if it matched mine as well.
Yes. Yeah. Any other player who has, oh, that matches mine too, will get to place theirs in there because you do get to guess on everybody who has a chance until you get one wrong.
Now mine is spade to or club to club. So I would say I cannot put any cubes out.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. So then he would decipher what he thinks I have, and if he makes a guess and it's correct, I would reveal that, and it would be correct, and our gardener would move the number of spaces that it shows here on the bottom. After we're done guessing, the queen is going to move one space, plus one space for each of these flower petals that she has underneath her. And you might be asking, how does she get those flower petals? Well, she's going to gain.
How does she get those flower petals?
That's a great question, Dan. As the gardeners progress through the game and they cross the little dotted line where the white rabbit is at, she's then going to take one of these flower petals and place them underneath her like this. And now she's going to move an additional space for every flower petal underneath there in an attempt to catch us because, like we said, she's crazy and she wants to chop our heads off. Once you pass the rabbit, the white rabbit will then follow the little rabbit trail down to the next icon where the rabbit's at. And the game is going to continue to proceed where we guess and gain points, and she continues to try to catch us. And every time we pass a white rabbit and it advances, we'll add another rose petal to her. It snaps on there pretty darn good. They're pretty tight. So once you have it on there, and then she's not going, she'll move 3 spaces then in an attempt to get us. If we make an incorrect guess, she's going to move twice her speed, because she's really mad now.
That'd be 6.
Yes, it would be 6. And the play is going to continue like that, where we're drawing these different cards each turn and tiles until we have completely filled the garden. Once we've completely filled the garden and she does her last move towards us, as long as she hasn't caught us to take our heads off, we win, which Dan and I have yet to be able to accomplish. So close. A couple times we've been very, very close, but it is a very difficult game. But I enjoy it though. I like these tiles are nice.
Sure. Not base game, I believe.
No, I don't believe it comes to the base game. This is the Deluxe edition. Dual layer board. If we go into components.
Well, a couple quick little things I wanted to mention for that part of the gameplay is I believe you, Bob taught me the game. I believe you mentioned a couple times that both players can never have an easy card at the same time.
Correct. Yeah, you're only allowed one easy card out at a time.
So that's something because when you draw back up, you choose which deck you take from. But if Bob had an easy card, I couldn't draw an easy card. And then also in the 2-player version, which is what we were playing, we had these little cheat cubes.
Yes.
So basically, we had our player colors here, and then we drew 3 cubes from a color that wasn't in the game, and then 3 times throughout the whole game we could say, I'm not confident in that guess, I'm not guessing this round, and we would just skip our guess by discarding a green cube, and she would still move her base movement, but we wouldn't move, and it would just skip that. So then you could kind of stock up the guess for next turn. I could just set Bob up this turn knowing I'm barely giving him information, and then next turn hope to get a better one, right? But that's just something I want to mention. But then, yes, Bob, you're right. We're going to next go into overall components, remembering this is the Deluxe edition.
What's in the box?
So with these Deluxe edition, I'm not sure if the base one has a dual layer board or not, but I love dual layer boards. It's one of the things that sold me on it. Keeps them from sliding all over the place.
From the pictures, it looked like it was. It looked like they were just like cardboard instead, but it still looked like they sat in grooves.
Okay.
Just from the pictures I saw.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell in the pictures. But that's super cool. These tiles, acrylic. I love acrylic tiles.
Yeah,
You have them in the bag.
Of, like, quacks.
Yeah,
right?
like a quack, some of that, so you can hear them
the Quacks
clanking.
expansion.
It's a very satisfied
so loud.
clanking there. It is. So those are really nice. The minis, they're fine. Like, I don't think I see any problem with them. I think a little wash will kind of help them pop out a little bit better, so I'll probably end up doing that.
Yeah, there's actually not a bad amount of detail on them for how simple they are and how basic a you're not going to be able to get a nice...
Yeah, maybe we take some pictures of them to get those up here, a little bit clearer picture of it. The cards are fine. They have a nice little like texture to them, but I don't really think you need to sleeve it. It's not a game
Probably
that
not.
necessitates that.
We'll see because of the white edges, right? We'll see if those scuff over time.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem like they're going to be a problem.
I really like the insert. These tiles will all fit in these little slots here, and then you have the starting tiles, and the starting tiles will all fit in this little like rose part in the center here.
Great.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. I mean, beautiful.
Yep.
You know.
And then obviously player colors.
Yep.
I assume miniatures
Yep,
there.
the minis all fit there. These are for
and the roses
the
are
roses
for those. Yep.
fit in there. And yeah, then all the tiles fit in there. And then when you look at the bottom, there's we'll go over these in a second here, but there's a spot where all the cards fit. They do give you these little like cheat sheets are basically to help you try to decipher guesses. So if you don't make a guess, whatever, like, okay, well, it wasn't this, so I can cross that out, just to try to help you eliminate possibilities.
Right, which I could see being maybe more useful in a 5-player game.
Sure, because having all those cubes out could be a little overwhelming. Now, also with the deluxe edition, it came with the expansion, the Escape the Castle. We haven't had a chance to play that part of it yet, but basically instead of trying to build the garden, you're fed up with her, and you're like, I quit. But in order to quit, you got to get out the gate, and you use all these extra cards that it came with, and you'll use the Queen of Hearts deck all the time and the keys. And then you'll get to choose a helper, right? The White Rabbit, the Jabberwocky, Tweedledee and Dum, the Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, Alice. You're going to choose one of those Wonderland characters to join you and help you find these keys that you need to escape the Queen of Hearts. Another thing that came with, which is kind of neat, is this Queen's Royal Log, which basically is there to keep track of your scores, right? 2-player scores, 3-player, 4 players. You write down who all played, what day you scored, and then how far you made it up the track. And if you got beheaded, you're going to lose 10 points for that. But it still helps you, keep track of your score. Because if you do get beheaded, it's not a total loss, I guess, because you still scored some points.
Sure.
You just have no head.
Obviously, the scores on the cards go from like 1 to 2, like 2 to 3, or 2 to 4, and then like these are like 4
5,
to 6,
yeah,
or
4 to
something
6,
like that.
Yep.
So that's why you would choose the different difficulties, try to outrun her and everything. I didn't have to mess with it, but it seemed like you taught me in about 5 seconds. What was the base rule book like?
The rule book was fine. It's nice shape, all right, good size. I like that. But it was super straightforward. The setup was super basic, and then it's really only like 2 pages of how to plays, or 3 pages with examples, right? So these purple pages, or whatever color that might be, is examples. So, am I? Cool.
Yes.
But yeah, so like first phases, third phase, fourth phase, and that's it. And then on the back is a nice player aid with a breakdown of how everything works. And then it has some other variants too, right? Like 2-player variants. Teaches you how to use the clue pages, so like so it just basically teaches you how to decipher and whatnot. But one of the things I liked is a lot of the back thinking, right? You're like, okay, you placed that there, so it matches this, this, and this. Okay, so where didn't you place that? And that was a big thing in this game. It's like, it's not necessarily where you put it, but where you didn't place it, because since your options are limited, you got to make sure you're finding like the best place for that tile to try to give out as much information as you can, but also be like, hey, well, I didn't put it here because it could have been something else. So yeah, there's a lot of saying just as much with where you didn't place it with where you did place it.
If not more.
If not more.
I like all the art. You know, it's not like mind blowing to me or anything, but I like that's a catchy box cover. I
Yep.
like that, and the art on here. It's nice that Bob is colorblind. It's nice that the flowers have very obvious different shapes to them,
Yep.
not just their colors.
Yes,
you know,
that was super
and it
helpful.
didn't seem like Bob had a problem with any of these
Nope.
at all. I did.
These two are a little close.
I purposely didn't tell you.
Yep.
You can see I gave me blue, him yellow, and I chose green for the offhand one. I thought those would be pretty
light
good.
blue. I'm like, those are
Yeah,
blue?
they're very light
Bright blue.
blue.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, so that's it for components mainly. You guys
Mhm.
see what you get here. So next we're gonna go into kind of our final thoughts, and we're gonna each score it out of 10. We're gonna go more into that in a second.
I had a really good time. So now we're going to go into our final thoughts. We're each going to have our final thoughts on the game, and we're going to give it a rating. Dan,
Me?
how does that rating system work?
So Bob and I are individually going to rate it from 1 to 10. We do use 0.5s just so you can get our own personal opinions. We have different tastes in games, right? But then we're going to average those two scores together to give you one score from the board game rundown. That's where we'll put on Discord, Board Game Geek, stuff like that when people ask us what we rated this game. Yeah, so who do you want to go first, Bob?
Go for it, Dan.
Okay, so yeah, we're painting the roses red. It was a fun little game. It reminded me a lot, even while he was explaining the rules at the beginning. I was like, oh, it's like Shipwreck Arcana.
Little bit.
It reminds me of Shipwreck Arcana
Yeah.
while playing it. Like, yes, it's not the exact same game, of course.
Cooperative
but
deduction.
Right, but cooperative deduction, which we talked about with Shipwreck Arcana. Not a lot of games like that.
Yep.
And it was cool having in this sense. This is way harder
Yes, it is.
than Shipwreck Arcana. Like, boy, oh boy, man. Like, at the beginning of the game, there's like no clues out there.
Yeah.
So like you're just like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Like you're not gonna take a hard early on. There's nothing to bounce it off of. Like,
Right.
that's madness. But then late game, you're so limited with where you could put your
Yeah.
piece. You're like, oh my god, like there's like this tiny area in
Yeah,
the middle where
that
you're like,
mid-game-
let's relax just
Yeah.
for about 2 rounds.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, this is really nice. But yeah, I had a fun game. Again, like we kind of talked about in the past, there's not too much to talk about here. I like spatial games too. This is a nice spatial element here. It is. Man, it's going to really hit analysis paralysis people, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there is a lot of, even for people, like, I tend to think I don't have, like, very much analysis paralysis at all. And, like, I was just sitting there sometimes, like, what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
the options you have to measure of, again, the biggest positive for this game, the biggest thing to think about with this game isn't where he placed it. It's where he didn't place it and why.
Yep.
That is 90% of your thought process in this game. Like, I take this tile, I put it there. And then Bob goes, okay, well, heart could match with any of that. Purple could match with any of that. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, but if it was purple, you could have put it here, here, or here, and that would have matched this. And if it was heart, it could have gone here, here, perhaps here. Here would have been a great spot for heart. You didn't do any of that, so it leads me to believe there's less great spots for a heart. So it's probably a heart. Now let's narrow down the heart and the other space. Like, that's what the game thinking is.
Yeah.
And analysis paralysis is going to really get people, I think, because the type of deduction this is can get, I don't know if crunchy is the right word because it's such a light game.
Right.
but there's crunchy thinking going on,
Yeah.
I think, from my perspective going
Deep
into
thought.
this. Yeah, deep thought, right. As the sophisticated
Yes.
person would say. But yeah, so all that said, I enjoyed the game. I don't think I liked it as much as Shipwreck Arcana, but that's more of just because Shipwreck Arcana plays so much faster and is so much cleaner.
Sure.
But this definitely has its own separate spot. I could see myself owning both. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the end, for final score, man, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I want to play with more players. I think that's going to change the feeling dramatically.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think for now, it's such a cop-out, but I think for now I'm going to fall on a 7.5, which is a
Yeah.
score I give out a lot.
Yeah.
I just think with the 2 players, that's where I currently fall. I like it. It's definitely an above-average game. I like
Yep.
the cooperative deduction. I enjoyed it. I cannot wait to play with more players and see just how much that changes that board state. Because there's going to be so many cubes out on that board of everyone's guesses being procced, all
Yeah.
the time. That's going to be crazy. So, yeah, for now, a 7.5, and we'll see if that fluctuates at all with a different player count.
Yep. I agree with you. Everything you said, I think it's going to be better with the multiple player count because that was the thing. Because when you place out a clue, everybody who has that matches their clue gets to put their cubes out there. So as long as you keep making correct guesses, you can keep guessing at other
Right.
people's clues. And I think that'll make a big difference on it. I was gonna give it a 7.5, but I love the fact that it's dual layered and that it keeps these things from sliding around everywhere because that could be really annoying
Sure.
if it wasn't that way. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it the 0.5 bump and come down on an 8.
No, yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah.
It was definitely between those two for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it does play 2 to 5 players, and I think we failed to mention at the beginning. So you can play up to 5 people. So it'll be super interesting to see, and then that'll probably get it more toward the 60-minute game time that it quotes because we played it 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, with just 2 of us. And that was still with some analysis paralysis. I mean, not a lot, but there was a little bit of that. I love like the little artwork, like small details, like the white rabbit starts here, and then you can see the little trail where and that's just a cool little artistic touch that I really enjoyed. I'm excited to try the expansion to see how that works out and getting the different keys with all the different modules that you can add into it. The insert looks fabulous. There's a lid that goes over the top of it that keeps all of it from shifting about, which is super nice. So yeah, I'm gonna say an 8, which is gonna bring that to 7.8. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I probably could have figured that out in my head with 2.
Yeah, I
Math is
know.
hard. It's been a long day.
It would have been 7,
I waste
5 and then round up.
Yeah. But I did waste a lot of brain activity trying to decipher what the heck Dan was doing. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna place this tile. You have 0 clues. Guess
Yeah.
what? I don't know."
Yeah.
But yeah,
That happens.
it did like 2 or 3 times at least. But no, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing again. I like that it plays quick,
Yeah.
and I think that it won't be difficult to get it to the table. I really enjoy the Alice in Wonderland theme. That's one of my favorite kind of like stories and whatnot.
Okay.
And so like I enjoy like those characters and stuff in there. So I'm glad to see some games that hit back to that.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think it's gonna be it.
Well, thanks again for joining us, guys. We have a weekly podcast we do all the time. You're interested in that, and a bunch more reviews and stuff every week. We're trying as much as we can to come out with all this stuff. So, if you liked this stuff, we hope to see you again.
Yeah.
But anyway, from the Board Game Rundown, I've been Dan,
I was Bob.
and this was Paint the Roses by North Star Games. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.